Testing. Check, check.
The sociopathic types, too, they prey on the elderly. Like, they're bad
Really?
people. Oh, yeah. Well, this is a big problem now with computers. I mean...
These are the
right.
guys.
Like
you know,
all
this
the frauds.
Yeah,
this happened
yeah.
once to my grandma.
Yeah.
She calls me up out of the blue. She's like, I just got a call from you in Mexico saying that you were stranded there and needed me
You
to
need
send
money.
you $1,500. I was like, what the?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, well, that's a
That's insane.
sociopathic.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
know, and
think
peop-
they're sociopaths to do that, or they're just like opportunistic people, or what's the difference?
Oh, you got to be... The real psychopathic types, they have no conscience. Like, you're there to be plucked.
You're an NPC in a video game,
Yeah.
as it's been described.
Yeah, exactly. And they're relatively rare, and they do have to move around. And, you know, they can be successful in extraordinarily corrupt environments for short periods of time, but it's just not a stable solution. I mean, I can give you an example.
Well, I'm curious. What do you think about like the high-ranking officers in the Nazi Party? Were these psychopaths that were thriving in an unstable, corrupt situation, or are these otherwise decent people that just got twisted up in the
Well, some of
times,
the there
you know?
were a little of column A and a little of column B. You know, like there was certainly openings in the Nazi hierarchies for people who were compassionless and cruel and vengeful and all of that. The SS is a good example of that. But there's a great book that I would recommend to your listeners, to your viewers, called Ordinary Men by Christopher Browning. It's a great book, and it tracks the development of. So when the Nazis moved through Poland, they left policemen behind to maintain order, let's say, but it was still under wartime. And Browning tracked the behavior of this one unit of policemen. They were all middle-aged guys, just typical middle-class, you know, bourgeois guys. They'd grown up really before Hitler, so they weren't thoroughly indoctrinated like the Nazi youth, say. And they were sent to Poland. And their commander said, look, you guys, it's wartime, and you know, there are traitors everywhere, and you're going to have to do some pretty horrible things here, but if you don't have to, you can go home if you think that's just too much. And none of them did, and you think, well, why not? They had the opportunity. But the reason was, well, they were comrades, let's say, in arms, you know, so they had that esprit de corps thing going, and they were all thinking, well, I'm not going to like run away and leave my colleagues to do all the dirty work. It's a war, and
They have
so
a duty.
they have a duty. Yeah. Okay. So fine. So you know they started by rounding up all the Jews who were between 18 and 65, the men, and like shipping them away, and they ended up by this is rough. It's a rough book. They ended up taking naked pregnant women out into the middle of fields and shooting them in the back of the head. And so you think, well, how does a man transform in that manner? And Browning shows you, like, it's not pleasant. They went through psychological hell each step of the way, but they went. So lots of times it was ordinary men who went down the bad path one step at a time, and sometimes it was like people who were rotten to the core, like the minister of propaganda or Mengele, the doctor. I mean, he was a sadistic psychopath of the highest order.